Happy Wellness Wednesday, everyone. Master T-Tap trainer and wellness enthusiast Kiona Leah, finally back with you guys for another one of our Wellness Wednesday tips. Can you believe that I have wanted to do this tip since Thanksgiving? Only a little bit behind. I started recording it and realized I really hadn't learned the technique well enough yet to really share it with you guys in a proper way. So I've been practicing at least somewhat on my own. I've been re-reviewing the information from Dr. Andrew Huberman about how to really create a gratitude practice. Of course, he's actually organized enough to get this out on Thanksgiving week. And this was a fantastic episode. I'll link it in the comments and stuff below for you guys if you'd like to listen to the entire 90-minute conversation that he has about the neuroscience and the amazing studies that are out there about gratitude and what a difference it truly makes in our life. All the health benefits that they talk about really help so much. Calming the nervous system down, the heart rate, the breathing rate, our resilience. And that is one of the biggest things that we really want to work on is our resilience. Stress is going to happen. Life is going to happen. The kids are going to run screaming through the house with finger paint on their hands and get it all over your walls. Your boss is going to stress out and yell at you over a brief that didn't go correct. You may end up going through splits. Sadly, we're going to lose parents, pets, and loved ones along the way. It's not about avoiding and not having stress. It's about how quickly can we recover. And a gratitude practice can make all the difference in the world about how that happens. But what's interesting is a gratitude practice is not what any of us thought it was. I've had a gratitude application on my phone for, I think 3 years. And it reminds me about 3 times a day to stop and count my blessings. Write down some things. It gives me little things of ideas of what to use and such like that. Once or twice a day, it gives me a daily Zen, a nice gratitude thought that I can meditate on or concentrate on. And all of this is wonderful, and we should count our blessings, and we should be externally grateful for the things that we have. But what's interesting about the neuroscience is it turns out what really soothes our nervous system, which in turn informs our brain to stay calmer and recover faster, is a very different type of gratitude practice than what I just described. So let's talk a little bit about that. And if you want that science, again, I highly recommend Dr. Huberman's podcast. I'm just going to talk about how to put that practice together. What the studies really show, and if you really think about it, we do this all the time. We tell ourselves stories. The brain primarily works in images. If you think about it, if you read a book, what do you see? You see the words on the page, but what's really going on in your mind is this movie that you're creating from those words of something. Don't picture a pink elephant running across the room. Didn't work, did it? But what did you see in your mind? You saw a visual, you saw a story, you see images like a movie. We want to leverage this by thinking of our gratitude practice in a movie format, in a narrative format. So that's one of the very first things that we show. That's quite different than, okay, what's a number one thinking of it? But even if you do that, if you think about your blessing, you're going to realize you're thinking of an image of some kind. But we want to create a narrative. Ideally, we want to put ourselves in the narrative, but you don't have to. If there is an amazing movie where you see people creating and giving gratitude to someone, you can absolutely use that. As long as it moves you here, it will work. So we want to create a narrative, but what do we want to create the narrative around? Turns out it's not about giving gratitude, it's about receiving it. And part of why I've struggled with this can be really difficult for some of us. Some of us who are really giving people, and we think that we are so energized, and we are, by giving to others. Sometimes we tend to block receiving the gratitude they have for doing that, for doing that for them. Simple things like hemming a pair of pants, giving someone a blanket, giving someone change on the street. We want to absorb that gratitude, but you want to put it into the scene and context of what it fully was. And very, very, very important, it needs to be heartfelt, true gratitude. It really needs to be someone connecting their heart to your heart for something that you did for them that they are so appreciative of. I am so blessed in almost 20 years of teaching the TTAP method that I have some amazing moments of that in time with my clients who couldn't walk, and because I brought this system to them and worked with them one-on-one, they got their lives back. I can still, all these years later, feel that love and gratitude in my heart when I think about that woman's face, her coming into my basement for the first time, what a difference, and her bouncing off walls just weeks later because she threw that cane away. I can still feel that. And if I replay that in my mind, I get those benefits. You want to concentrate and feel those benefits for 2 to 5 minutes, doesn't take long, in your regular practice. Any time of day is okay. Whatever works for you. Kind of like how I like to say whatever timing works for you with your workouts. It's exactly the same thing. So you want to create that narrative around that story of when someone gave you genuine, heartfelt gratitude, or you witnessed genuine, heartfelt gratitude given to someone else. As long as it moved you and you felt that, that's what you want to concentrate on. Now, here's a little piece from some nonviolent communication that I've started learning. When you give gratitude and when you tell this story to yourself, think about these little pieces. Don't just think about someone saying, "You're amazing." That is great, but it doesn't quite land. Why? Why? What did they do and how did you feel? So really, what it is what did they do and how do you feel? An example for this from my own life that I gave to a friend of mine was I was dancing with her and I told her afterwards, "You are my favorite person to dance with. You're so much fun. It just makes me happy and energized to dance with you because you're responsive, you pay attention, you're silly, and you always do what I'm asking, take it to another level. And that is so much fun for me." So notice I did that. I talked about how I felt and I gave very specific examples of what she did that make me say she's my favorite person to dance with when I'm leading. So that type of thing, create that in your dialogue. Create that in your narrative. You know what you did because remember, you're the one receiving that gratitude. So think about, create it in your narrative. What did I do? What were the specific steps I took that this person is so grateful for? And ideally, if they told you what their feelings were, great. If not, connect with what you felt from them. What happiness, what joy, what contentment, what safety, what relaxation, what was there beyond just they were grateful that you felt from them. Create all that, make a little story up for yourself. What I've done is sit down with some of my favorite music, and I really am enjoying stuff that's not super slow and meditative, not too upbeat, but somewhere in the middle. I like a lot of my Celtic harp music. Put it behind it, and if you have to remind yourself, go ahead and tell yourself that story, 2 to 5 minutes, and then just think about playing it. It's a great time to play it in the car on the drive. So that is some amazing, different information about gratitude practices that don't take much time. Takes a little time to set all that up and maybe jot those notes down and create that narrative, but only 2 to 5 minutes, just a couple times a week, can make all the difference in the world. So, what do you want to talk about? Let me know. And as always, I'm Kiona Leah. I want to see you move, live, and thrive. So I'll see you on the next one.